Following the confirmation that Ukrainian forces had crossed the Dnieper River into Russian-occupied territory in recent weeks, hopes have risen that this could be a small but key breakthrough in the six-month counter-offensive against Russia. The Dnieper has effectively operated as a front line in the southern Ukrainian region of Kherson, separating Ukrainian troops on the West Bank from Russian forces on the east, or left, bank. Russian forces had retreated to the East Bank last year following an earlier counter-offensive by Ukraine that left the Kherson region, strategically important given its location above Russian-annexed Crimea, partially occupied. Then the official confirmation came earlier this month that Ukrainian forces, including Marine Infantry and Special Operations Forces, had managed to cross the wide Dnieper River in more substantial numbers than in previous sorties, and had established several footholds on the East Bank. The development, described as a small but significant breakthrough by military analysts, has spurred hopes that Ukraine could build on those positions and advance south toward Crimea, potentially breaking a land bridge that Russia has established between its territory, a swath of occupied southern Ukraine and the peninsula. The left bank of the Dnieper River in Kherson is very important because it's near to Crimea. Alexander Musienko, a Ukrainian military expert and head of the Center for Military and Legal Studies in Kyiv, told CNBC. Our forces right now on the ground, on the left bank are just 70 kilometers from occupied Crimea, he said. So if we have success in this offensive operation, that means that we will move behind Russian forces, we can break up their logistics, and also we can move forward to the west and to the south to occupied Crimea, and they will have a huge problems because of that, Musienko noted. The size of Ukraine's latest river crossing appeared to catch Russia, which has largely concentrated its forces in eastern Ukraine, somewhat unawares. The Russian-installed governor of the Kherson region Vladimir Saldo said Ukraine had initially sent more personnel across the Dnieper than our firepower could destroy. But he then vowed to rain hell down on the troops that had crossed the river, saying they had been sent to the slaughter as Russian artillery, missiles and drones began to target the men and heavy equipment that had been taken across the river. Military updates since last week suggest that intense fighting is clustered around several villages on the East Bank, with Krinky the epicenter as Russia tries to counterattack and prevent Ukrainian advances southward toward the prized Crimean Peninsula. Ukraine's military said last Sunday that its forces had pushed Russian forces between 3 to 8 kilometers back from the river, impeding their ability to pound Ukrainian forces back on the west bank of the Dnieper with mortars.